Narrator, Haile Selassie, and a name that echoes across Africa and the world. To some, he was a visionary leader and a defender of Ethiopian independence. To others, he was a symbol of African unity and resistance against colonialism. And to millions of Rastafarians worldwide, he is considered a messianic figure, the Lion of Judah. Today we explore the remarkable life and legacy of Ethiopia's last emperor. Narrator, Haile Selassie was born on July 23, 1892, in Ejersagoro, Ethiopia, under the name Tafari Makonnen. He was the son of Ras Makonnen, a trusted general of Emperor Menelik II. From a young age, Tafari showed intelligence, discipline, and leadership skills. His education included languages, literature, and politics, training that prepared him for future rule. In 1916, after the deposition of Empress Zewditu, Tafari was appointed regent plenipotentiary of Ethiopia and later crowned as Emperor Haile Selassie I on November 2, 1930. Narrator. As emperor, Haile Selassie embarked on bold reforms. He introduced Ethiopia's first written constitution in 1931, modernized its army, and worked to improve infrastructure, education, and administration. He sought to balance Ethiopia's ancient traditions with modern statecraft. Haile Selassie also became a symbol of Africa's potential, showing that an African nation could remain sovereign at a time when most of the continent was colonized. Narrator. In 1935, Italy under Benito Mussolini invaded Ethiopia. Despite fierce Ethiopian resistance, Italian forces occupied the country in 1936. Haile Selassie fled into exile in Britain, but he did not remain silent. In June 1936, he addressed the League of Nations in Geneva, pleading for international support against fascist aggression. His speech was historic, reminding the world that it is us today, it will be you tomorrow. His words foreshadowed the coming of World War II. In 1941, with the help of Allied forces, Haile Selassie triumphantly returned to Ethiopia, reclaiming his throne. Narrator. Beyond Ethiopia, Haile Selassie became a global statesman. He was one of the founding fathers of the Organization of African Unity, OAU, in 1963, based in Addis Ababa. He strongly supported African independence movements and called for unity among African nations. On the world stage, he was respected as a voice for peace, human rights, and freedom. His famous 1963 speech at the United Nations inspired Bob Marley's iconic song War, making him an enduring symbol in Rastafarian culture. Narrator. Yet Haile Selassie's reign was not without controversy. While Ethiopia modernized, poverty, inequality, and political unrest grew. His government faced criticism for centralizing power and failing to address the needs of the rural majority. In 1973, a devastating famine struck Ethiopia, killing hundreds of thousands. This crisis, combined with growing dissatisfaction among the military and students, weakened his rule. In September 1974, Haile Selassie was overthrown by the Derg, a Marxist-Leninist military junta. Narrator. Haile Selassie died under mysterious circumstances in 1975 while under house arrest. Official reports claim natural causes, but many believe he was assassinated. Despite his downfall, his legacy lives on. To Ethiopians, he remains both a reformer and a controversial figure. To Pan-Africanists, he is remembered as a champion of independence and unity. To Rastafarians, he is divine, the living symbol of prophecy fulfilled. Haile Selassie's life reflects the triumphs and struggles of Africa in the 20th century. his story continues to inspire debates, movements, and memories across the world. From a young age, Tafari was recognized as intelligent, disciplined, and ambitious. He was taught Amharic, French, and Ge'ez, studied history, and was deeply influenced by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. Unlike many nobles of his time, he pursued education seriously, understanding that knowledge was the key to leadership. By the age of 13, he was already appointed governor of a small province. Over time, his political skill and loyalty to Menelik II helped him rise higher in the court. In 1916, after the deposition of Empress Zuditu's husband, Tafari was made regent. Eventually, he was crowned Emperor Haile Selassie I on November 2, 1930, in a lavish coronation attended by foreign dignitaries, signaling Ethiopia's arrival on the world stage. Narrator: as emperor, Haile Selassie embarked on an ambitious path of modernization. He introduced Ethiopia's first written constitution in 1931, limiting the powers of the nobility and centralizing authority under the crown. He strengthened Ethiopia's army, built new schools, and invested in transportation infrastructure. His goal was to make Ethiopia strong enough to resist foreign powers and respected enough to join the modern international community. He also sought diplomatic ties with nations far beyond Africa, bringing Ethiopia into the League of Nations. Narrator: in 1935, Mussolini's fascist Italy launched a brutal invasion of Ethiopia. Despite fierce Ethiopian resistance and the bravery of warriors like Ras Desta and Bele Seleka, Italian forces used modern weapons, tanks, and even chemical gas. By May 1936, Addis Ababa had fallen. Haile Selassie went into exile in Britain, but in exile he became even more powerful, politically and morally. On June 30th, 1936, he addressed the League of Nations in Geneva. His speech, pleading for collective security, warned the world about the danger of fascism. He said, "It is us today, it will be you tomorrow." His prophecy came true just 3 years later, with the outbreak of World War II. In 1941, with support from Allied forces, Haile Selassie returned to Ethiopia in triumph, restoring independence. His return was celebrated as a victory not only for Ethiopia, but for all of Africa. Narrator: after World War II, Haile Selassie positioned Ethiopia as a respected member of the global community. He pushed for United Nations membership and spoke out against racial discrimination, colonialism, and apartheid. In 1963, Addis Ababa became the headquarters of the Organization of African Unity, the forerunner of today's African Union. Haile Selassie played host to African leaders fighting colonial rule, offering Ethiopia as a symbol of freedom. His 1963 speech at the United Nations emphasized equality, peace, and collective security. Decades later, parts of this speech would inspire Bob Marley's iconic reggae anthem War, forever linking Haile Selassie to Rastafarian culture and global music. Narrator: to Rastafarians, Haile Selassie is not just an emperor but a divine figure, the fulfillment of biblical prophecy. They believe him to be the returned Messiah, the Lion of Judah, from the lineage of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. When Haile Selassie visited Jamaica in 1966, he was greeted by thousands of Rastafarians in what is remembered as a spiritual moment in their faith. Though Haile Selassie himself never claimed divinity, his symbolic importance lives on, shaping a global cultural and religious movement. Narrator: while admired abroad, Haile Selassie faced serious challenges at home. Ethiopia remained largely feudal, with land concentrated in the hands of nobles, while millions of peasants lived in poverty. Students and young intellectuals demanded reform. The famine of 1973 exposed the weaknesses of his government, with hundreds of thousands starving, while the world criticized the slow response. Corruption and mismanagement within his administration deepened resentment. By the early 1970s, the military and Marxist elements in Ethiopia saw Haile Selassie as outdated. In September 1974, the Derg military junta overthrew him, ending centuries of imperial rule in Ethiopia. Narrator: Haile Selassie was placed under house arrest. In 1975, he died under mysterious circumstances at the age of 83. Official reports claimed natural causes, but many believe he was strangled on the orders of the Derg regime. For years, his burial place remained unknown until his body was reinterred in Addis Ababa's Holy Trinity Cathedral in 2000. Narrator: Haile Selassie's legacy is complex. To Ethiopians, he was both a modernizer and an autocrat. To Africans, he was a liberator and an inspiration for unity. To Rastafarians, he remains the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the conquering Lion of Judah. What cannot be denied is his global impact. Haile Selassie stood against fascism, colonialism, and injustice. His vision for African independence and unity continues to inspire leaders today. More than 40 years after his death, the story of Haile Selassie still sparks debate, reverence, and reflection. He remains a towering figure in world history, remembered as the last emperor